Okay. Let's
Yeah,
see.
you're moving now.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and get started here in a second. Let's just see what happens here. Okay. Looks like we're good. So this is going to be another case study with one of our customers, Jorge Borjas. Jorge, how long have you been with us? 2 or 3 months, something like that?
I'll say 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
a little
about 3
background
months.
on you. When you came across us, you're a fairly new investor. You have a full-time job. I know you were doing mail. Can you kind of fill us in on how many deals you've done? Just what your marketing approach was when you came across Skip Genie?
Yeah. So I started flipping in October of last year, and at some point this year, in about April, I started to just really ramp up my driving for dollars. So I just accumulated, significant amount of houses, and I sent some mail. So the first mailer yielded pretty good returns, but then after that, second, third, and fourth have been pretty abysmal. And so the second time that I sent mail, it was postcards, and I got a bunch of those returned, and undeliverable, unable to forward, whatever, right, vacant. And so I had heard, in last year, I've learned from other investors that, you should not throw that away, but you should look those up, or try to find a way to either get a better address or just get in touch with the owners. And then I forget when you were on with Danny Johnson, but basically I listened to that episode where you were on, and that was
one of the podcasts.
On the podcast with Danny Johnson, Flipping Junkie, and that was the first time that I heard about you and what you did, and basically I saved that as one of my favorites, and so once I was ready to start skipping, I decided to basically look into Skip Genie, and then I joined. And I think I got a trial account first, and with the searches available in that trial account, I found my first deal using skip tracing. And even though the deal, there's some probate documents that have not been executed properly, and so that's still we haven't closed, but we've had it under contract since August when we first used it. So.
To start with that deal, that was return mail.
Yeah. Basically, it was one of 50, I think, 50 pieces of mail that got returned to us.
And then, so once you did this, because this one, I remember the details. This was kind of interesting, and a lot of people using the cheaper, lower tier services, they would have lost out on this deal because of what you encountered. What was going on with that property? Like when you skip traced, what were the results when you found that owner?
Yeah, so the house, if you looked at the county records, it just says that it's on a state, but then basically the typical, I guess, websites like Spokeo and all those, they'll find the owner, but then she's dead, but the Spokeo won't tell you that the person's dead. And so that's huge, because I mean, if you don't know they're dead, then you're just kind of you're just hunting this person that doesn't exist. And so when I used Skip Genie, I looked the person up, and so first thing is like, okay, this person's dead, and then it told me the relatives, and a big thing was that the heir. She only had one heir, a daughter, but the heir was dead too. And so that was a big one, because I just went straight down to the next people involved. And that's how I came up with the person in charge, which was the husband of the deceased heir. And And so I just basically looked him up, and I found his number, and it was pretty quick, pretty straightforward. And I got a hold of him and scheduled an appointment.
It was quick and straightforward to you because, first of all, you knew what was going on. You had some decent data. Obviously, we provided it, but you first of all you did something with your return mail. A lot of people won't even do that.
Yeah.
And then you made the phone call. She died. Then her actual heir died. Then you took the time to, well, who's her heir? It was her husband. You got in contact, and now you're working through that, and you're looking at. I know you can't count on it until it's closed, but once that closes, you're looking at a pretty good deal. Whether you wholesale it or you flip it, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And you did all this with a full-time job. You were still full-time at this time, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And then, so at some point, you went from full-time to part-time. Was it somewhere in that time frame or shortly after?
Recently. Actually, yeah. So, basically, we got that under contract, and we sold one that we had been flipping. We have been recently working on that. And so when we got this one under contract, we felt pretty confident about leaving our full-time job. And so I put down my resignation. But so since I'm not going to another job, I guess I did a kind of 8 weeks notice, if you will. So I stayed part-time for 8 weeks. And I just recently, October the 20th is when I finally basically stopped working, and I'm just dedicating full-time to real estate.
And you mentioned this other deal. So we covered the first one. You did a second deal you're working on right now. That was a result of skip tracing your return mail, correct? And cold calling after that?
Yep. Yes, the same deal. We got the postcard. Yeah.
So you got in that one, you actually had one person tell you no initially, correct?
What's that?
You contacted you got the seller on the phone or one of the heirs, I can't remember, but wasn't your first answer a no?
Yeah. So the second deal, that one basically, so same thing. We got the postcard back, and I put it into my little spreadsheet to skip trace, and I got a hold of the owner, and she said no, she's not. They're not in that. She wasn't interested in selling, and I basically decided to go down the list and talk to her son. She mentioned that her son was, I guess, taking care of the property, but she first said, no, we're not interested in selling. My son is basically, he's maintaining the home. And so I thought to myself, let me just talk to the son, because just to see if maybe he has power or he has a say in the matter. And so I contacted him, and basically I just clicked on the relatives so first I skip traced her, and then clicked on the relatives, and I got I got a good number for her son, and I talked to him, and he said, yes, we are interested. And so what happened is the mom is just, old, and she's in an assisted living facility. And the son is the one that was supposed to be taking care of the property, but he wasn't. He really let it go. And he said that I came in at the perfect time, that he was looking to sell the house sometime this year. And I just basically made it really easy for him. So everything that we say in the letters, I can buy it as is right now, close quickly, all these different things, right? That we all the value that we bring, I just basically explained it to him over the phone, and he was very pleased. We met, negotiated, and we closed on it at the beginning of October. Right now we're flipping it. We're going on with the rehab. It's a really good deal.
Oh. Yeah, that's right. I forgot you'd actually closed on that one. So again, you can't count it until it's done, but you like ballpark, do you have an idea what y'all make off that flip?
Ballpark, I mean, anywhere from 60. I mean, I'm probably going to try to there's some comms that sold for 385. Mine might be a little bit smaller, so maybe I'll probably go try for 375. If we did, we'd make like 90K in net profit. But I'd learn not to really get a number in my head, because then I get disappointed if I don't get it. So just being conservative, even 50, 60K.
Yeah, and my point that I'm driving home there, even if it was 20,000, all you spent, the little bit, little bit you spent on skip tracing, that even if you spent $200 a month in skip tracing, that's a pittance compared to the deals you can get from it. You get one deal, you pay for your skip tracing for years. And that was only one deal. You got the other one, got to close on it. And that's one of the points we're always trying to drive home. And on those two deals, you got them from return mail, but just so I can drive home another point, were both of those houses vacant?
Yes.
So had you been just driving down the street and seeing those vacant properties, yep. So, and that's another point. That's why I like vacant houses, and that's why I call them. I don't mail them, I call them. You mailed, but what if somebody else had seen it at the same time and they just called directly? You lost time sending the mail, waiting for it to come back. Yeah. And then, fortunately, you still got the deals. I just hate losing that time. So that was just one other little thing. I just thought about that earlier. I was like, I bet they're both vacant. I'm pretty sure they were. Yeah. So like I tell people all the time, there's different ways to find vacants. You actually see them, or you get the return mail and then you run them down.
And I do want to say something
that pretty well covers.
To your point, that
sure,
I did experience the missing out on a deal. Like, most likely, they're under contract right now, but I'm missing out on a deal because I did not skip trace them right away. I identified the vacant property and I sent mail, and it's one of those where the owner, it's like they're really old, and basically they just recently left the house, and so the mail is still going to that house. The heirs are not really like doing any forwarding addresses or anything like that, and so basically the mail just went there, so I didn't get it returned. But then the house was clearly vacant when I saw it recently. And then once recently, about a few weeks ago, I already had Skip Ginny. And so I looked them up and I found the son who's in charge. And he said that the house was already under contract with somebody else. And they got it. They also stole, they got it for such a good deal that I would have even paid more. But the guy, whoever he was, beat me to it. And so that I'm taking as a lesson to every time I identify a vacant house, I might still send them a letter, but I'm just going to go straight to skip tracing them, and instead of waiting for the mail to drop.
And I know I've lost deals like that, being a step behind, just due to my own issues, just dragging my feet sometimes. But I've learned speed kills, because when you miss out on that deal, I've missed them literally by 2 days. When you miss out by that much, that makes you put everything in a different perspective. It's like, how can I find them faster? How can I contact them faster? Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up. I do. That definitely stinks.
It does.
So basically now you're pretty much real estate full time. You still technically got your job for the benefits of it, but the majority of your time you consider yourself full time in real estate now.
Yep.
And I'm not saying skip tracing be the only way you get deals, but just it sounds like you're going to keep applying skip tracing and cold calling to some extent in how you get these deals.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've only driven around my county, which is pretty big. And basically, I doubled the list of houses that I have just this week, or I'm almost done. And so I have a lot of skip tracing coming up for me, and that's just this county, and that's just driving for dollars. Once I'm going to start mailing, I guess later on, just high equity absentee owners probably. But right now I'm going to focus on just basically skip tracing vacants and just houses that just look like potential deals.
Yeah, and that's a very lean, efficient way to go get the best deals out there. Period. Nobody can prove to me otherwise. You don't have to spend a ton of money marketing to them. Matter of fact, if that's your only game, you're missing out on the best ones. There's so many people that are not doing what you did with their mill. They're just taking the calls that come to them, and they're not taking the time to chase down the ones that nobody else is.
And these properties, like, see, since I drive around, I notice them, and a lot of them look terrible. And it's clearly through the years, for some reason, some of them are not getting touched because, they don't fall in the absentee owner category. It's just weird stuff. Like in this business, you see some weird situations, and a lot of those weird situations, they're not being found. And so I think that driving around and basically getting a hold of the person directly, it's a way of I guess improving your conversion rate, and the cost per lead is significantly lower by skip tracing these people.
Absolutely. You're reducing your ratio of leads to deals. That's absolutely probably the tightest ratio out there, distressed vacant properties. And you're not spending $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month to go get them. You can literally go get a deal a month for probably a couple $100.
Yeah.
And there's no overhead, no huge machine, none of that stress. Now you can go that route and build that if you want it, but it's not required.
Right.
That's why I love the path you go down as a newer investor. You're extremely lean, but you're extremely profitable. That's what I love. Like, it's giving you that cushion that you can, if you choose to do some more passive marketing, you've got the budget for it.
Right.
You've got the money to try to figure out the finer points of, pay per click or Facebook, whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. And, by the way, everybody, Jorge, you're in the Atlanta area.
Yeah.
So, I just like to tell everybody, it's not like I held your hand and pointed you in the right direction. I don't know Atlanta. I've flown through, I've been at the airport a bunch, but I don't know Atlanta. There's no secret tips I gave Jorge. He just signed up and started skip tracing. The concept made sense to him, even as a newer investor, and it's pretty easy to get rationale and logic behind it. And he implemented, and here he is now with much more time to put towards real estate, and he's doing pretty good. So, in closing, would you recommend skip tracing to people as vacants or whatever to some extent?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. Definitely recommend skip tracing. I've recommended to a couple other guys I work with, or we're part of the same real estate meetup, and I recommend it to them. And I don't know other skip tracing software, but SkipGene is just pretty straightforward. It's pretty clean. It's not complicated, and
our information is as good or better than anything out there, but where we really make a difference is our weekly phone calls where we can support people. I know you've been on some of the calls. You haven't had a whole lot of questions. I think you were listening more than anything else, but that's where we can kind of hold your hand, help you come up with a strategy, how to drive for dollars and prioritize a lot of different things. But that's the difference maker.
Yeah, I think that's huge.
Data. You can go get that all over the place.
Yeah, that's huge. Definitely. I think that just being able to have that mastermind call every week and being able to ask questions is huge. Because some of these houses are, you really have to dig, and being able to tap into the wealth of knowledge that you have, and I guess other investors around the country, that's huge.
And I don't. One thing I like to make clear to everybody, I remember when I first talked to you when you called off of the podcast. I remember talking to you. I don't remember how long ago. But I remember that conversation. From that point to today, has there ever been an upsell, twist your arm, we've got this $25,000 coaching package or anything like that?
Nope.
And that's the way I'm going to keep it. Have no, like, we're straightforward. This is what we offer. We're really good at it. And if there's anybody out there, if whether you're in Jorge's shoes, you're a newer investor, or you're experienced and you're hurting for deals, you're not getting the same return on your direct mail, because I don't know many people who that have been doing it for years. We can help. We can help you devise a strategy or something as simple as just some basic skip tracing.
Yeah.
That's why I really liked Jorge's story. I asked him to come on here. Hopefully some of y'all that see this get something out of it. If nothing else, at a bare minimum, again, here's the thing: vacant houses are gold. Return mail, it's worth every penny you're going to spend on skip tracing it. Pull however many reports you have to get in touch with the relatives, but get in touch with them and make the deals happen. It's that simple.
Yeah.
With that, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Is there anything you want to add to that, Jorge?
No, not really. Just make sure you go down the list of relatives. Until you get a hold of somebody. I guess that's one thing that you do have to be patient. Some of these people, the houses are a mess for a reason. It's because their lives are a mess. And so you just have to be patient with it. I have another potentially really good deal, but then the guy is procrastinating big time, and you just have to be patient. But at least, but I've gotten a hold of his sister, who's a joint heir. I've gotten a hold of his daughter, and so being able to get a hold of the family members is huge, because they can tell you information that's very valuable that you wouldn't know otherwise, and that can help you to wait, be patient, or it can maybe tell you, oh, maybe just drop that one. So that's huge. Just going down the list of relatives and being able to talk to somebody that's familiar with the person or with the house. It's very key.
Yeah, you brought up something. The sellers rarely have the same urgency that we do. And it's frustrating sometimes. We're like, let's get this done. Some of them do, but a lot of them are like, well, I'll get the paperwork to you tomorrow, or whatever.
Yeah.
But okay, well, once again, I appreciate it, Jorge. We'll go ahead and wrap this up. Everybody else out, if you're seeing this, I know there's a huge demand for this. That's one of the reasons why we're doing this. Check us out, skipgenie.com. Be like Jorge, get a free trial, no strings attached, get some searches, and he's not the only one. We have more stories of people getting deals just off that free trial, getting 5 searches and calling people. Disclaimer, it's not going to happen every time for everybody, but if you have a very good lead, a distressed vacant property, it could very well happen. Just test us out.
Yep.
And feel free to contact us. Jorge, thanks again, and we'll go ahead and wrap this up.
Yeah, thank you. Good talking to you.
You too.
All right, take care. Bye.
You need to shut the fuck up.